welcome back to the Girls Want to Know. What's up, girl? How we doing this week?
Girl, try not to go to jail. Try not to go to jail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say. Look, do we want to say more about that or do we want to say less?
No, let me tell you. Okay, so this year I feel like it's been trying for many of us with the jobs, with like life, like all kind of shit. But I feel like this was a year where it was so much grown-up shit for me to do.
Yeah. So we're going to do a little, just to let y'all know where we're going this episode, we're going to do a little mental health check-in.
Mental health check-in.
Because it's just been a lot for both of us and for everyone. So.
Yeah, everybody I talk to.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, it's so stressful.
I'm on the edge
I
of
got
my
like
road,
13
bitch.
jobs and I'm still not making whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, I just feel like with all these things that we're doing adulting-wise, I just ain't got time for the fuck shit. Fair. Anybody that is being weird, I don't have time for this. It's like everybody's trying to figure out how to pay their rent. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on in the world in general. So for me right now, I'm just kind of like, I don't mean to sound like I'm on edge, but I'm definitely a bitch walking like I got road rage on my feet. Don't you dare come at me talking crazy.
Road runner.
You know what I'm saying? It's just not that season to me.
Yeah.
To just really be on some silly shit. And I feel like, as you grow up and you get older and you really start to see life, you really start to see shit with people. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's also, you see it when you're younger, but you are much more into like gaslighting yourself. When you see it when you get older, you're much more comfortable like cutting people off and moving around because you're just like, oh, I can't deal with that. I don't have time for it. Because we've always known, but I don't think that we were as self-assured and self-possessed as we are now. And so we didn't, when we were younger, give ourselves the credit of being able to like see when somebody was playing in our face. We would always gaslight ourselves a little bit and say, give them a benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I would give people more the benefit of the
doubt 90% of the time. Like people that you know and love who have proven that they are like worthy of being in your space and you have like built a connection, those are people you give the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I feel like new people come in and they kind of show a face and then they show a different face. And when we were younger, when they showed the different face, we would be like, oh, maybe they're just having a bad day. And if
I
they
don't know if I was
doing
doing that. I think when I was younger, it was more for me of you just young and you just free. And none of that shit really mattered to me at the time. Like the same way bills didn't matter to me at the time. Okay. In my 20s, it was like, nah, I'll get to it. And that's how you get bad credit. But that was just me. But I feel like I had my awakening this year. And I think that's what it is for me. Okay. I think it's more of seeing a pattern of your life and really recognizing that you no longer want to repeat the same situations, whether it's friendships.
That pattern be real,
relationships, jobs. And once you really lock in and like it really hits you, like we all get lessons and sometimes you might have learned them, but like another one will come in a different form and then you'll go through. So I've been through so many different forms of them to where now the moment that I feel it, see it, or it looks similar to what I've seen before, boom, I'm not even...
Ooh, should we talk about what people's patterns are? Because I know
we can. I just know that I'm no longer in the space of she might have or he might have meant the moment that it looks like something.
That's what I'm saying. You used to give people the benefit of the doubt, and you're not doing that anymore.
No, now it's like I seen this little scene before.
And it's not even to say that people don't deserve grace. They absolutely do.
But you give the grace by bringing what you've seen to the person. Yeah. And then how they respond is how they will get that grace. Mm-hmm. If they respond in a way that's like defensive or weird, when you point out,
if you
then
start
you're like
blowing smoke up my ass,
you're
we got
weird.
A problem. Yeah.
Or for me, what I'm noticing, which I've sad enough, but you learn sometimes why you are friends with certain people and why you happen to have relationships with certain people. I think I've learned that.
It's beneficial in a...
No, I'm saying... Sometimes you will notice, like I'm noticing now, like, that's your problem. And now you see what what you attracted. Yeah. See, a certain situation happened and the way the person responded, I was like, just like that. I was like, oh, baby, that's your mama. That's your ex-boyfriend. That's the people from the job. Everybody knows how to play you, Fatimah, because they've been playing you. The moment that you set that boundary, everybody seems to guilt trip you.
Okay.
Like, I've gotten that my whole life.
Okay.
Even from my mother. Like, if I'll be like, I don't like that you said X, Y, Z, she's like, well, I'm dealing with this, that, and da-da-da-da-da. Or are you in a relationship with somebody and you set a boundary with him and you tell him that this makes me feel this way. He's like, well, I'm only doing this because the justification.
This is why I be cutting people off.
is what I fail to pay attention to. This is why I be like,
and scene, I'm done with you.
But I'm at that state now. I'm finally there.
I love that
to where now it's like, immediately when you try to guilt trip me, I'm finna be like, hold on, we're not even talking about that.
Let's redirect.
Let's stick to the
you've lost the plot, friend. Let's get back to the subject.
I think we need to get back to where we are. And like, I've had so many years of people like doing that to me, and then I'll let them like curve me off to the, and I'll be like, oh, well, maybe I'm being selfish, or maybe I'm being this, or I'm over the, and then for years I would overthink
yourself.
that.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, you gaslight yourself. So I think that's honestly one of the reasons that I started therapy, is because I couldn't really advocate for myself in the moment that things happen. And I would always just stew about it. I would just ruminate about it for days and weeks and years. I do ruminate about it,
but here's my reason for doing it. It's a big reason. And I found that out this year, and I was like, oh, you need to know the difference. So for me, I went to anger management for like a year in 2018. And then I had to do it again when I was like really young. So due to the fact that I've done anger management twice, I've always had a hard time in responding once I got older. Once I took it the second time, like when you took it as a kid, you like, oh, they just said I got to do this because, whatever. When I did it as an adult, there was so much that I learned in there about myself that it gave me a lot of fear to respond. And for years, I was just kind of like, you already know what kind of person you are. Just let it slide. Don't say nothing. And I kept doing that.
And so you have to find balance is basically what I'm hearing.
No, I had a situation that happened to me this year that I was like, oh, you cannot go down that route, because if you keep sweeping it under the rug, the cup is going to get too full, and then bam, nigga.
Balance.
It's going to be.
Yes, it's balance. Yes.
So
it's
like,
balance. Okay. So, that's fair. I definitely think I have gotten to a place where because I need to find balance as well. It's a different way. Like it's a different form. Mine is much more of the, I need to learn how to hit all my metrics that make me feel like I'm achieving a goal, and not drop everything once shit gets too hot for me. Like,
like staying on the course.
Staying on the course, yeah. And so my balance this year, the way my brain has been doing me has been a little greasy. And
what
so
you mean?
Just because I feel like I am not in my therapy, I'm not seeing a therapist right now. And I had been in therapy for 7 years prior to this. And so I was used to that weekly check-in of being able to like vent, get guidance, and like move around. This year, I'm not really able to do that, and I'm having to deal with a lot of shit by myself. And I've had a lot of upheaval, to your point. Like, it's just been a lot of adulting that's had to happen, and I'm doing it without a mental health expert. Like, it's hard. Yeah.
I've done that for years. Obviously now, but that is really hard.
It's really hard.
You gotta find another outlet. Like, is it gonna be journaling or whatever? And it's like, damn, with the 37 jobs, I ain't got time to journal.
And so when you come home, you're so exhausted from working for 10 hours, and then you gotta edit, and you gotta like shoot content, or you have to post, or you have to check in with these people, and you have to do XYZ. It just feels sometimes really impossible to like invest in my mental space. But I can't really not, because I have several disorders.
No, it's fine. Okay, so how do you feel? Do you feel like this season of your life is showing you that you got to learn how to stand on your own too?
Yes, this season of my life is showing me that I have to learn how to stand on my own 2 feet. And so the crazy thing is I've been standing on my own 2 feet for over a decade, right? But it looks different now because I don't have the luxuries of a high-paying job that affords you the ability to get these necessities that you need, to go to the doctor, to go talk to your therapist, to fly home and get like that family love whenever you feel like it. And so at this point, I'm like severely probably lacking in oxytocin, which is like the love drug. This is what you get when you hug a family member or somebody that you love, or you pet a dog, or I think you actually get oxytocin too from like other physical activity. Sex is great. I'm not doing any of that. So
yeah,
I'm really having a hard time like managing everything. And I'm having to create a checklist. I actually did create a checklist of like things to do every day that will help me get oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, endorphins.
That's so good. I haven't created that at all.
It really helps though, because you will find that you're in kind of like a stuck place. And if you're not doing something to check those things off your list, you will kind of start to, your mental capacity to like exist in life starts to diminish. And I noticed I was starting to feel very burnt out. I can't really burn out again.
I think that's maybe what I was going through, because I was this summer has been it's
been a bitch.
It's been a more for me of like trying to find, I guess, balance in like the changes that I've gone throughout the year. so it wasn't a big year for me to like socialize and like hang
At
out. And
all,
then like
yeah.
I didn't really do my typical summer shit.
Yeah.
Like hang out with my friends, go like
I mean,
all the
we used
clothes
to be
that I
at
bought
dinner.
in the
I know.
like winter for the summer, I barely wore them. I had to force myself to wear them recently.
Social life. Like, we used to be outside, y'all.
All the time.
We used to be outside. Dinners, events, like movies at the cemetery. What was the cemetery movie?
Movie in the park.
Yes. Like Hollywood Forever. We used to do all the things.
Mm-hmm.
And this year has just really slowed us down.
And it was interesting for me this year because I thought it was more of just me.
No, it's everybody.
But everybody I spoke to was just like really either trying to dig themselves out of debt, trying to fix their savings account, or they're just not outside because they're going through it in so many ways. And so it was just like, even if I wanted to go out, a lot of my friends were just locked in on something, fixing their lives or figuring out their lives. So it wasn't that type of summer for me. So yeah, I definitely felt that. I didn't have a lot of like socializing, which really started to really mess with me.
So that's what I'm saying though. My oxytocin was like significantly reduced because you get such a boost of dopamine and oxytocin when you're with people that you love and just doing social things and laughing with your friends. Laughing is like a big thing, and hugging your friends and just having like community with people. And we all been in the house.
Yeah, but this was a big year for me of like, the self-discovery was at a high level. Like this was probably this is crazy to say, it's probably one of my favorite summers ever. And I didn't go anywhere. Fair. It wasn't like I went on a cool trip. This was one of my favorite summers ever because I feel like the third eye is open, baby. She's unlocked.
Yay.
She's unlocked. She has arrived. She is here. And and I say this, it was also hard for me to like relate to some of the friends I had already because I had changed so much to where I would hang out with some people just trying to get that, and I would be like,
this ain't
catching things that they would do and say that I'd be like, you not even this girl no more. You can't even hang out with her.
This has happened to me so many times,
because this is annoying to you now because you're not her anymore. And so that was another thing for me this summer was just like, I have never cut off so many people in my life. And I mean that in a big way, y'all. It was almost like Noah's Ark. I left.
Look, it's like, welcome.
No, I mean, like this was deep for me this year because it was people that I didn't expect. It was things that I didn't see. Just my whole outlook on life is very different.
Yeah.
And I went out with a friend recently that I used to click. I mean, we used to go hard like 2 or 3 summers ago, and I went out with her, and it was like, not you the same.
But
not you the same girl.
I think
what is it?
The thing is, people be on different paths.
Yeah.
Everybody on a different path. Everybody's enlightenment comes at a different time. And also some people just are okay walking that same path that they've been walking.
Yeah.
And I think we always hear like everybody can't go with you. Everybody can't go with you.
It's just so fast.
Yeah.
I feel like my life in LA has been very fast.
It's like
when I look at it,
pruning a rose.
This is the first time in my life ever that I've ever had rotations of friends this fast. Like when I lived in Chicago, it was like, these are my friends and we became friends forever and we still are friends. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I had the same friends from college in Chicago for years. In LA, I got a new set of friends every year, bitch. It's like
I think the thing is, I don't really think I make new friends in LA so much as this year, the universe did an amazing thing for me where a lot of like my old friends came to LA. They moved.
Oh, moved. Yeah. You can say that.
So like college friend moved here. 2 college friends moved here. A childhood best friend moved here. And so suddenly I have this like different new old circle that I used to be with. And so these are like core people that I trust. So I could go sit at somebody's house if I need to. But they also all busy as well, right? Everybody going through their own stuff. The people in LA, though, that you meet, I have found that it is hard to build connections with people that you meet in LA. And I honestly just think that a lot of that is because people are so like hustle minded of like, I got to get there. And they're not necessarily tapped into building the community that it takes to achieve the goals they want to achieve.
And that's where this was the year, honey.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say I was delusional. I think I just was in a space where let me not say I was in a space. I think that for me, because I'm in the industry, you guys. This is like the comedy world is a whole nother thing. But I think when I was in the industry before I got here. Mm-hmm. And like leaving Chicago and growing up in a family full of entertainment and really I've seen it, y'all. I'm talking like deep, like to the point where my father was a producer at Sony. Yeah. My uncle was a blues singer, huge, touring, I toured, all kind of stuff. So when I got to LA, my mentality of entertainment was completely different than what was going on out here. Like I knew the core of how to make it. Yeah. I knew the core of what this was. So when I got out here, my mindset wasn't, oh, this person's going to try to use you, or this person is not really trying to be your friend because they just, my mindset was always like, I know how to get to the bag, and that's what I'm on. Yeah. And in my mind, I've never been like, oh, if I hang out with such and such, I'm about to get to the back. Because in my mind, knowing the industry and what it is. But that's just not how you are, yeah. No. Let's just keep it gangster. I know the industry for real, y'all. You cannot stand next to nobody and blow up. Yeah. I'm being honest with you. Yeah. You just there. They could give you that opportunity, but if you don't know why you're there and you don't have the talent, that's just that one opportunity. And then you're going to go home.
And it's going to fizzle.
And you're going to go home.
15 minutes of fame, yeah.
And that's it. So to me, my mindset has always been like, you got to keep working on you, even if you are in certain spaces or around people. Yeah. So the hard part for me, what I learned this year, which is sad, I've been here 13 years and I learned it. Nobody just showing up being like, hey, trying to be your friend. That bitch don't like you. She just see what you got, or she want to learn something from you.
She see your emotion and want to get on your wave.
And want to get on hop in the cart with you. Like, you got to be, not everybody, I'm not saying everybody is on that. Let me, but you have to be cautious. You cannot look at it like, oh, she really do like your outfit and want to tell you that. No.
Thing is, this is where I feel like I will give people the benefit of the doubt. I have met some genuine people here. Like, a lot of my close friends that I met in LA, I met at my old job. And perhaps that kind of created like a buffer between us and the outside world where we were already in a space where we had kind of made it in the job that we were working, because it's a really coveted position. Right. And so there was no like trying to one up or trump each other. Yeah. It was just kind of like you clicked with the people you clicked with and you built relationships outside of that. Right. And so I am grateful for that. I will say though that it is, I think as we get older, it's just difficult to create genuine connections either way. Like, it doesn't really matter if you're outside all the time and you're meeting new people and this person wants to use you and that person doesn't. Just as you get older, you become, I think, less receptive to creating new relationships with people.
That's true.
Friendships.
That's true.
Yeah. Like, I think dating is a different thing, but friendships, it's really hard to like crack that shell with somebody because people have kind of already become insulated in the communities they want to exist in. Right. Yeah. And so, at least for me, like, it's really hard for me to create a new friendship at this point. Yeah. And not that I'm not open to it. I don't know. Like, I feel kind of fulfilled with the friendships that I have, but I also am a little standoffish as a person unless I'm in a space where I'm getting to be around you every day without having to be close to you. So a work environment really works for me.
Does help.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not going to go out and meet nobody and we finna go out and have, it's just very rare for me.
Yeah. I think for mental health check-in for me, I have really been contemplating this industry. I think I am really seeing it for what it is. And it's a very realization for me this year, as far as like mental health. I think for entertainers, and this is because we both do different things, so I'll be the hands to the entertainers that watch this, but this is a very unhealthy environment. I think I've discovered that this year more than ever. I knew it was never an easy career. I knew it was always going to be, stuff, because you hear about it with other celebrities talk about it online, but the levels that I reached in the last couple years has really opened my eyes to so much of it, to where you're like, oh, this is always going to be toxic. This is the one relationship that you got to decide how you're going to navigate through this if this is something that you really love. Yeah. In other words, in entertainment, there aren't any friends, guys.
That's what I was going to say. It kind of just sounds like you can't really have the hope of like creating genuine friendships in that community. It's got to be like, I create friends outside of this. I go in here to do work and then I pop back out.
Well, I made a really funny thread the other day and a bunch of entertainers retweeted it. I said, the entertainment industry reminds me of the reality show Big Brother.
I never watched it.
Big Brother is a show. Basically, it's a game show, you guys, and like, all these people move into a house, and in the end, one person wins, I think, a really large amount of money. So during the time on the show, everybody's being phony. People connect together. They create alliances. Nobody's really anybody's friend because everybody's trying to get to that one end goal. But you have to have certain people in the house to get closer to it because they do votes.
Okay.
So you basically stay in the house based off the votes of other people. So you have
who likes you.
Yeah. So you kind of got to play the game a little bit on who likes you. And even if the whole house doesn't like you, because a lot of times what I've noticed with the show, this is why I think it's the same thing as entertainment. A lot of times within the show, every person that ends up winning Big Brother is usually the person that everyone hates.
Oh yeah.
The one person who wins is always the person that everybody in the house is just gunning for. And they all click up.
Yeah.
But then that person is always so smart to outsmart them and click up with the right people. And in the end, they win. So that, to me, I was like, this is something that
True
I see.
espionage.
Yeah, but I see it so often. And especially in comedy, I learned this year that in comedy, we are the depressed people who tell happy stories. So,
aren't we all?
True, but none of us really, well, not me, because I don't be looking at nobody, but a lot of them really don't want anybody else to do better than them. It's just not a very
crabs in a barrel.
It's a very crabs in a barrel
as a culture, comedy.
Yeah. And then when you think, you're like, dang, what's wrong with me? Why is this group clicking up and they all support each other? You end up finding out, oh, that's like a group of low self-esteem people. They found each other and now they do great.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, you can't even hope to have a set of friends in this community.
No.
It just really got to be in. You hop on, do your job,
it taught
and
me
out.
that you are going to be lonely, Fatimah, and you have to ask yourself, is that what you want for the rest of your life?
Why would you be lonely?
Success is lonely.
You're not going to be successful by yourself.
Your
other friends will be
on the way to the
successful.
top is not going to be, I'm not going to be like, oh, this is my clique of friends. Everybody's an acquaintance. Everybody's a person I run something with or whatever. I can no longer go into this being like, this is my solid peeps. No.
Outside of comedy?
Outside of comedy, yeah.
This is what I'm saying. This
Outside of comedy, I have a whole regular life.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. It don't have to be lonely. Because the thing is...
Oh, no. I have really good friends that aren't in the entertainment industry.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It just doesn't need to be a thing where you're looking for any kind of comanianship on the way to the top within that community. Because you're A, not going to get it. But B, any kind of companionship you get seems like it's attached to an end goal for the other person.
Right.
And so if that's the case, it's totally okay to just exist in that community professionally and then come out and live your regular best life outside of it.
That is true. And I used to think that, but that's not what I'm discovering. I'm discovering there's a lot more to this than... That's why lately I'm like, oh, you really have to think about how far you want to go or how you want this to look or how this is going to make you feel. It's a very toxic world. And even when you are like, oh, I should just be here for this and go do this. Mm-hmm. You can do your best with that. But it ain't necessarily always going to look like that. Okay, I'll give you a good point. Say that's how you feel and you have a show and you're doing the show with several people that you don't get along with. Mm-hmm. Okay. That negative energy that you sitting in with these people, regardless of, you didn't do the job yet. So you got to wait to get on stage. You got to sit with these people and be a part of this. You're going to have to see these people. Just imagine having a job where you know it's toxic. That's a good way of putting it.
Okay.
You wouldn't want to work it. After a while, you would be stressed out because you like, every time I go in here, it's some shit.
I mean, I get it.
This is the job that I have. The job that I have is every time I go in there, it's some shit. It's just an environment where I'm noticing in order for me to be a positive manifesting generator, I have to surround myself around what is going to pour in me.
Are you a generator?
I am. I started reading that book.
What am I? I can't remember.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
okay.
I can't remember if I'm a generator or I'm the person that has to wait to be invited. This is
I forget the name of it, but it's the
type, archetype or some shit like that.
It's called shoot. My friend just gave me the book because we were talking about it. It's called God. I can't think of the name of it now.
Okay, hold on. We're about to find out. It's your human design
human design book. Yes.
Yes.
So I'm a master manifester. And once I started reading the book, I'm like, oh, this is true. Every last one of these things is true. Because everything that I've ever wanted in my life, I've definitely manifested it.
Okay.
All I have to do is envision it. And I feel like everything from moving to LA to who I am and what I've done, all of that was that. But I noticed in the last 3 years, I've had a hard time manifesting what I truly want. And I've discovered within the last month, it is the surroundings that I am in that is causing that deflect. when I separate myself and I go to places around people that are pouring into me in a positive way, the next day. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so you just got to be around better energy.
Yes, and learn how to guard it from certain things. Like 2 Sundays ago or Labor Day weekend, I hung out with some friends and it was great. I went to this one show. It was great. People were pouring into me great. And then that next day, all this money came. All these little cool things came. Mm-hmm. I felt good. It was just like I felt good. Yeah. So I was able to bring in good. And I'm like, when you're around certain comics, they all having a bad time. And even if you're not taking in that energy, it's around you. So when you go home, if you want
to start doing protection spells.
Yes. And
you
even
need
if your
Reiki healing cleanse
good,
and some like it's just sage and some like just some different things that kind of protect your aura.
There's some deep reasons why I'm telling y'all this, because some things went on in comedy and I was involved with someone in comedy that I was really trying to break down. What was that? Why did that go this way? What was all of that? Like the pictures of how you look, your attitude, what happened in the end. It was like, oh, baby, you were surrounded by the darkest of darks.
The darkest energy. I think the thing is, like, once you come out of a situation like that, it really does require you to either glow up or wither away. So you're either going to take a situation like that where you were really kind of balled up and just really like put into the hardest fucking compactor, right? You're either going to become a diamond.
Yeah.
Or you're going to disintegrate into nothingness.
Yeah.
And it sounds like what you're doing is becoming a diamond. And that is great. That is the ultimate goal, is to take anything that comes your way that would be kind of derailing you from your path or creating a negative energy or a negative mindset within you. Ultimately, it's up to you to try to figure out how you can use those things to further align to the path that you're supposed to be on.
Because sometimes
that's the goal of everything you go through in life.
Everything. Yeah. And if your mental health is like in a negative space, like a lot of people are feeling, you're going to have a real hard time reaching those things that you want. And forever, I didn't really know if I believed all that. I was like, oh, I'm positive. I do feel this way. I do want this to be. I'm like, but then I started thinking like, you do. But then you find yourself around people that are hating on you behind your back, so they don't want the best for you, so stop telling them what you're getting ready to do. One, or you are blocking it. But if you're a good apple and you in a sea full of apples that ain't having a good damn time, a little bit of your apple gonna get bruised.
But wait, how are you blocking it though?
I've been working on, like last night, when I go into an environment that is the comedy world, I start out carrying this positivity to pour it in and see how people receive it. Mm-hmm. If it's not picked up and like now everybody positive, I take my ass right on out that green room and go find the bar to sit at, or I tell the person who's hosting like, yo, I'm gonna be over there.
Yes, because if the energy around you is not good energy, you gotta change your location.
And I've been bringing my Beats by Dre headphones now to where I sit in the back and I'll just vibe out and like tell somebody to come and get me.
And zone them out. Mm-hmm. Like it really... And this is where meditation comes in. It really does you a lot of good to be able to be anywhere and be okay. Like to be in the most chaotic environment and you are just sitting in yourself, like not super... you can be conscious of what's going on around you, but it's not affecting you.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you cannot control other people's energy.
You can't.
All
but
you can
I
control
will say,
is yourself. Yeah.
No, but it's a lot of negativity running around in the world right now.
It is.
It's so much of it.
But you can't control that.
You can't.
Yeah.
But you gotta figure out a way to block it. Because it's everywhere. And I feel like, and I know it ain't just me. The entertainment world has been wild this year. Every comic I've spoken to this whole year has been like, I don't know what's going on. Everyone's this, everyone hates everyone. I'm like, something hit the fan this year where it was just like everybody was getting revealed.
Well, I just also think that there's like a very capitalist mindset to our culture in general, where everybody just wants to, like I said, they want to get to the top. They don't care how they're stepping on people or how they treat people to get there. And they're not really considering other people's feelings and like ambitions. Mm-hmm. And so if I can attach myself to you and I get to the top, it doesn't matter if I stop your motion on the way, as long as I get to where I want to go. It's such an individualistic mindset. And the thing is, like, you could do that, but honestly, like, once you get up there and you buy your motherfucking self, all that money, you're gonna be miserable as fuck anyway. You might as well collect some jewels to take with you along the way, like friendships and people who you actually love and want to be around, who pour into you that you pour into, because you also feel better when you're surrounded by people that you can give love to, who can give love to you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely. I don't think people understand that.
No, they don't. And I mean, again, I'm in a whole nother world. This is entertainment industry. I used to watch this show. I don't know if anybody watched it, called The Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Oh yeah,
one of my favorite.
Yeah, I watched the first season.
Okay,
yeah,
and I would cry every time I watched it, like in tears, because it was just like, oh my god, like this is what 1920 in this motherfucker, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is the same shit that's going on. It's 2024. But one of the things I will say that I told one of my friends when I finished the season, I was like, damn, watching this made me be like, do I really want this? Because I was just like, my biggest fear has been like where she ended up.
I didn't finish it.
In the end.
Spoiler alert, if you watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, fast forward like 5 seconds.
It's been on for,
I know, but I just, sometimes people be watching shit late.
Well, in the end, we just learned that everything that I'm learning now, every man she dated never wanted her to be what she was. Her ex-husband that she had cheated on her because of who she was, but he never stopped loving her. Everybody in the industry knew she was good, and they came for her neck every chance they get. Sabotage, all kinds of everything she went through.
Did her and her like manager, were they good at the end?
Yeah, they stayed best friends forever.
I really loved their dynamic. It was so cute.
In the end, that's what I was gonna say. In the end, it was just them. All they did was FaceTime with each other. No husbands.
They was FaceTime?
No kids. Or whatever they was doing.
They were I feel like they wouldn't FaceTime.
They weren't FaceTime, but they ended up being
like 1940.
Yeah. But like they ended up being tight. And that was one of the things that bothered me in the end. And in the end, I was like, damn, I don't know if I want to be that rich and just be alone.
Yeah. And I don't think you will be.
I was like, I don't know if that's what I wanted it to be. But just also seeing her whole story was just like, everything that I feel like I'm experiencing this year is just like, fuck, that's a TV show, but it's real. Like, she had kids young with a husband, and every woman I talk to now is like, it ain't all what it's cracked up to be, bitch.
But I think that's a different thing though, right? Like,
but she had it, and that was something that I wanted when I was watching it. But then in reality, her having it, he still went off and cheated and did something else with another woman. Yeah. And in the end, all that matters is who she became.
Yeah.
But women don't see it that way.
A lot of women see it that way. Well, I think the thing is also...
You be thinking, I want kids and a husband. And you're like, in the end, bitch, you just need to get rich.
You think when you're...
You just need to get a parrot. Like
that
she had
shit you think when you're 20, 25.
Right.
And I think a lot of that comes from maybe not having the most healthy family dynamic, right?
Right.
And then you feel like, okay, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be better in my family dynamic. When in reality... I think if you don't get that early when you wanted it, once you get to our age, you start to realize, oh, thank God I didn't get that. Because that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted it at that age anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, now and seeing that, I'm like, oh, it made it harder for her to be successful.
It makes it so much harder for you.
She had children. Yeah. And then I think in the end, something happened where her kids wrote a book about her. Like, the bitch was never home. Something crazy like that.
Ungrateful ass kids.
Yeah, something weird. And I was like, see? Ain't none of the shit you think in your life is what it is. It's not. So like, that realization has been big for me this year. And I think also, just like you said, living here 13 years and my life is so busy. So I don't always have the easiest time to stop and see my family. And that's something that has really shocked me this year.
And it really is so like healing to be able to do that.
This year, I said this last night on my thing. I've been sad that my aunt is really going through dementia, and she's always been in my corner and supportive of my career. My mother is going through it, and lately I just feel like, am I selfish? Am I not going home and helping and being a part of this part of their lives because I want what I want so bad in an industry that's the worst industry ever?
Well, I also just think there's a whole life that you have here where you're providing for yourself. You've created something. You can't really do that in your hometown. So I don't think that's necessarily bad.
I started...
There's guilt that's going to be associated with that.
Of being like, you're fighting for what? Yeah. To fight with these niggas over $30?
Yeah.
Because that's all we do. And don't nobody tell the truth about comedy. You ain't making no damn money unless you leaving and touring. We fighting over the improv out here, and it's like they hand us all $10. Yeah, we get it.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
I don't know. I think the guilt is definitely something I've also dealt with. Because I see that a lot of stuff falls on my sister who lives.
That's what I'm saying. My younger brother is where my mom is, and I feel like he has to do everything.
She has to do quite a bit, and so I definitely feel guilt. I think my big thing this year is, and I always talk about non-attachment and non-resistance. I feel like I talk about it literally every episode, but
I ain't attaching
because it's very important just for the way that my brain works. And so recently, obviously, I stopped being vegan, or plant-based, I should say. But that has really kind of derailed me a little bit because it's another thing that felt like it was going to be a permanent, and it's gone. And obviously that's a decision that I made, and it's a decision that I made because health-wise I needed to do something different. But also it kind of sent me on a little bit of a spiral. Like
You think that it was the change, or?
It was the change. It's also the way that I am. I really crave normalcy and like routine. And so if I'm deviating from something that I felt like was permanent, it just kind of starts to like make everything else feel wavy. And so whereas I wasn't really drinking at all, I started drinking a lot more wine, and I was like having a lot more just unhealthy coping mechanisms because at the end of the day, these last couple years have really been about detaching from things that I thought were going to be in my life for a longer period of time. Yeah. And so it's leaving the job. It's not being vegan anymore. It's not really having my therapist anymore. It's being financially secure. Like, this is the first time in my 30s that I haven't really been financially secure. I have really struggled this year with kind of creating a healthy dynamic for myself because I don't have my comforts. And it's really forced me into a space where I have to say, okay, these are the essentials. This is what I can do right now. Should I be drinking this wine? No. Am I going to drink it anyway? Probably. And I had to kind of like self-check a few days ago, like, okay, girl, like, we off the rails. I've gained like 15 pounds. Like, it's a lot of things that have happened that I'm just kind of like, fuck, where am I in this equation? Because I don't really necessarily feel like the person I was a year ago. And
I think a lot of us went through a transition this year.
But the thing is,
like,
they
all look different.
The transition is fine, I think. I think where I'm having the issue is figuring out how to get back to feeling like myself. And the odd thing is I wouldn't go back. Like, I don't want to go back to the place that I was, but I also definitely miss my 2020 body. Like, I miss being able to fit into my clothes and feeling good when I put my shit on. I miss feeling like mentally safe. Like, I feel like intrusive thoughts have been so high these
I think
last
that's everybody.
months.
Like, this summer, I was just like, I don't even feel like I'm a young woman in this bitch.
I feel
ain't been doing no
my
young
skin
shit.
is freaking out. Like, I'm eating eggs and fish again, and my skin is like, bitch, what is this? And the thing is, my body feels better. But my skin and my brain are like, hold up. We having a hard time adjusting to this new life.
It is a huge adjustment for you, though.
It was a huge adjustment.
You didn't eat meat for how long?
Yes.
So, like, that's
for 6 years.
Yeah.
6.5. I always say 6.5, but actually, I went vegan at the end of 2018. So we'll be 5.5 years.
You got to give yourself some grace for something
I know,
like
baby.
that.
I be so hard on myself.
I think we all be impatient, too. Like, hurry up and get to the cool part.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm really, like, just kind of struggling to give myself, like, okay, you don't have to be perfect. And the thing that I do is when I feel overwhelmed like that, I tend to just kind of insulate. Just go inside my head, stop doing everything, and just kind of like, okay, calm down. And
that's the opposite for me. I'd be real close to punching a nigga.
No.
But that, I had to go and like,
I get real in my head
gym,
about
Fatimah.
it. And so now I'm in a place where I'm trying to do the opposite of everything I would do. Okay, I would normally like go home and sit on my couch and like read a book or watch TV. I gotta go out.
Yeah.
If I would normally cook dinner and like, I don't know, go for a walk, I gotta go somewhere and eat and take the dog with me. Like, I just have to do the opposite of everything I would do so that I can kind of break out of this. Yeah. I feel like I'm in a prison in my mind sometimes.
I think all of us feel that way.
Yeah.
I mean, just in different ways.
Yeah.
In different ways. I feel like for me, I learned that I'm one strong bitch this summer.
I mean, yeah, but
ooh, I ain't gonna.
I don't want to be this strong. Is my point. I don't want
No,
to
it's
do
like
it.
scary strong for me.
I don't want to do it.
I've been through a lot of shit. When I say like from childhood to now, but this summer was like, oh baby, I felt bulletproof. Like literally.
Okay.
The types of things that I dealt with, it was nothing right now can touch me. That's literally how I feel.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the industry. Ain't no such thing as a disappointment to me now. Can't nothing touch me.
I definitely feel the energy of not really being disappointed by anything.
Yeah, because
like I definitely am just kind of like, okay, well, I guess that just ain't gonna be what I thought it was. That's
yeah,
fine.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
pivot, like yeah.
Next, you know.
But I'm having a hard time like realigning. I feel out of alignment, I guess. I also had some weird shit happen a couple weeks ago that I'm still dealing with, and I can't really even talk about it, but it's just thrown me off course. There's been a lot of things that have kind of thrown me off course over the last 6 weeks, 2 months. And I'm feeling
this whole well, not this whole year. Well, slightly. I think this year there's a lot that was started kicking off for me from the jump. And I think I just was being my old typical self of like just being that big strong person for me and not addressing it. And then it just was like a snowball effect. Cause like I think it was probably April before what's the month before? Goddamn.
March.
March. Here we go. I'm like, March was when it was like, I think it set off for me. March was when I found out my mom was going through dementia really bad. March was when it was like, okay, my job was in limbo. You know, my brother was calling me every day because my mom was having all kind of things going on and I wasn't there. And I had this heavy guilt of that. And then it was like every job I got was like a scam. It was all startup companies all over. Grand opening, grand closing was
grand opening, grand closing for real.
Yeah, and then that was stressful, and then it was just like a lot of ups and downs with like career stuff. You know, we were just coming out of that strike, and then I was dating somebody who was just not the best.
That's the other thing. I have not been on a date in forever. I need to start.
I went on a date recently, and that was not fun. Well, it was fun, but a part of me was just like, yeah, you're not ready.
This not the guy.
You're not ready.
Okay, fair.
You're not ready
yet. I feel like that's a good conclusion to come to, though. Because I think a lot of times we'll force it and just try to, like, put ourselves back out there. But at the end of the day, also, never mind. I also feel like being able to say, you know what, I'm not in this space yet is a form of growth. Like, that's really acknowledging, okay, I still have some stuff that I want to do for myself before I put myself back out there in front of somebody else. Because I don't want to be in a position where I'm looking at them sideways in a couple months, right? Like
it really wasn't looking at him sideways because I'm not ready for a relationship. But I think on that day I had a rush of like feelings from the person I just left, and I'm like, oh, you're not ready. Mm-hmm. It was a rush of some shit I didn't even think about. It was just like, oh, you haven't thought about him at all. But being on this date, you like, damn,
triggered.
You know, like that didn't work. And then like, you know, so I just was like, oh, you're not ready.
Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with the person. He was cool, but it was just like,
I remember the first date I went on after I ended a really long relationship. I came home and cried. It was a mess. It was just a mess.
Yeah, it reminds you of things that just, you know. So I just was like, okay,
it was a mess.
Want to drag this, whatever this feeling is.
I think I took another couple months after that and I was like, let me just go ahead and get back in the house. Yeah. Like, I'm not there yet and it's okay.
Yeah. I also feel like, not saying I want to go out here and be perfect for no man because they don't never come out here perfect for us. But I think for me, I just don't want to be carrying certain type of energy for me. Mm-hmm. So, you know. But
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I think that's probably, if I'm honest with myself, why I'm not dating. I'm really in a space where I'm building a career for myself. Mm-hmm. And I'm starting to get recognition. And like, I'm starting to get recognition to the point where, and this is not a great thing, but I'm taking it as a great thing. A brand stole my content the other day.
You told me.
Yeah. And this was really infuriating to me, but also like, nice that they wanted to steal my content. Like, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm getting somewhere.
Like, my cousin sent me something the other day. She's like, fam, did you know? I'm like, girl.
Yeah, but so I
posted this on TikTok. It hit like 1 million, and companies have been reusing it.
But the thing is, you can send a cease and desist, and then you can sue them for back pay. Because they have to pay.
I never got paid for it on TikTok.
You don't have to get paid for it on TikTok. But if they're using your likeness without your permission, you can send them a cease and desist. Oh. If they do not stop using it, you can then pursue legal action because they're not allowed to use your content.
How do they do it?
I kind of just feel like they screen recorded.
I'm like, how how's my face getting stolen?
They don't actually even screen record. There's an app that you can use to download and remove the social media app sticker that floats around on the app when you're watching it.
I was gonna say,
yeah, you can remove the sticker. And so they just posted my shit to their page without ever asking me anything.
You weren't tagged in it, right?
I was tagged. They tagged me.
They didn't tag me.
They tagged me. And so when I said, hey, I actually get paid to do this kind of stuff. Can you take this down? Or if you want to keep using it, I can send you a contract. They said, oh, we just really we didn't mean any harm. We just really like organic content. I
just told you what I
want
said.
Y'all to cut the shenanigans.
Here we go with the gaslight.
The gaslighting. Because you knew you were not supposed to rip my video down from my page and post it on yours. You did that because you thought you could get away with it. The honest to God truth is that a lot of these brands don't want to pay creators.
They definitely don't.
Because they feel like, well, it is one of those things where if you're posting on our brand or our brand page, we're going to give you exposure. Mm-hmm. I don't need exposure.
Nobody needs exposure anymore, guys. It doesn't pay bills.
It doesn't. I've had people ask me to send them raw footage. Raw footage is literally where you set up the camera and it's just everything you record while you're making your video. Mm-hmm. You want me to send you 16 minutes worth of footage for free? Are you out of your mind?
People be really tripping.
If somebody asks you to send them raw footage, y'all need to charge them out the ass. Yeah. Raw footage is they can do so much with that material. Yes. You need to charge them out the ass. And so at the end of the day, like I felt like, ooh, a bitch is I'm about real close to where I want to be if brands are stealing my content.
You always know you're getting close when people
me
things
off.
Like that.
Yeah. The gaslight pissed me off.
Yeah, that's what people do nowadays. As soon as you be like, hey, chill out, they be like, it ain't even.
Don't gaslight me. I cannot stand to be gaslit. Like, gaslighting me is the quickest way to get me to disengage from the entire conversation. Like, I'm done. Because you about to piss me off. St. Louis about to come out.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep Chicago Fatimah in. She's not. She's in. I just think now it's going to be a shocker for a lot of people in my industry.
I think that's the thing. I think people don't understand how much inner work has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of inner work has happened. Because
I'm a quick to what you say? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A lot of inner work has happened. And I really just want to keep my zen and keep my peace. And I think a lot of times people come into your life to test whether you really have completed that part of your inner work. But here's
the tea for me. In the industry I'm in, y'all, it is not, ain't nobody running around being corporate. You think they corporately approaching each other?
I don't think they corporate.
I've had people approach me like they ready to go outside. That's not what I said at all. No, I'm serious. I've had people to approach me in a way like they ready to go to the back and go outside.
No, not catch me outside.
And you got to figure out a way to handle that without going outside. I'm going to tell y'all a funny story. When I first got to LA, I came with the South Side. I was definitely putting my person on the table like, now, what you say that again? And definitely comics was like, you need to chill.
Yeah.
No, I'm dead ass. Like there's my friend Malik, he always tells me this. He's like, I remember that day we were at the Improv and this girl had said something to you and she pointed at you and you just put, he was like, it was real wild because everybody knew it was over with. Because he's like, you just looked at it and put your purse on the table and was like, say it again. And he was like, and everybody was like, this doesn't sound like she wants you to say it again. This sounds like you gonna wake up and then we gonna tell you.
It's the way black people say you got the right one and it mean you got the wrong one.
Okay.
That could mean one or two things. You got the right one meaning yes, I can help you with this, or you got the right one meaning you got the wrong one. Yeah. And this is why Black African American vernacular English is an entirely different language, and I just need them to run us the respect, baby, because you can't speak it unless you of the culture.
Absolutely. And I have been like, I feel like in the last, 10 years of LA, I've been this bubbly, happy girl. And I think what's funny is I'm like, dang, I think people think, you know, how I look and like how I'm like, I think they think that's it. And I'm like, ooh.
But we're not gonna let nobody take us out of
our... what's going on.
I think that's the thing. Like, we've gotten to the point now where
115th and Champlain, the worst McDonald's on the corner. Everybody gonna die. Like,
not 115th. I feel like as the numbers go up in any neighborhood, the streets get worse. That just kind of feel like,
where fighting is a day to day.
Honestly, like, it's certain parts of LA where it's numbers and I just don't be going over there.
Don't go there.
When I get a Lift request, decline, not going. Yeah.
I have a really close friend in comedy. We grew up across the street from each other. And it's always interesting because when I told her what went down, she didn't go, that's crazy. Her first words were, he met her. That's exactly what she said. She said, woo, what happened? She was like, because I know I got one too. And she was like, I've learned. She's like, I think this is what you got to learn. She's like, I've learned as much healing as I do and as much therapy as I do. I know she's not going nowhere. And she's like, you got to look in the mirror and talk to her and tell her, like, you've gotten me out of many hard times and I know we like this.
But it's time for you to rest, baby.
No, she said that you can never make her rest. She was like, you just have to understand when you are around certain people, if she start poking you and coming out, you got to get the hell up out of there. She's like, she's not going anywhere.
Okay.
She was like, the way we grew up, that girl, you need her. She's gotten you out of a lot of things. She's protected you, so she's a part of you. But this new life you have and the way you've changed, the moment that you feel her on your shoulder, you're like, oh, this ain't the environment. She was like, I know that now. She's like, so when certain things happen in comedy or certain things happen with a certain person, and I feel... She's like the Kelly from 171st. So she's always like, okay, gotta get out of here.
I think for me, I definitely...
That's what you gotta do.
I grew up rough, but I also think that I have always had a more gentle... Like, I'm from St. Louis. If it gotta come out, it gotta come out. And I'm totally okay with bringing it out. But for the most part, I'm just a very gentle... earthy, hippie.
I did not grow up in a household like that.
I didn't grow up in a household like that, but that is my energy, is my point.
Oh.
Like,
that's cute.
Yeah,
that's
like,
cute.
I definitely have had it come out where I've had to really go toe-to-toe with somebody. I have had to let that side of me rest. And I used to be very, I think, abrasive and very, like, hard to take.
Yeah.
Because I was just so blunt and and blunt can sometimes just mean you're an asshole. Sometimes I was an asshole.
Yeah.
And I've just gotten to the point where I'm like, let me choose the way that I am with everybody so that the way that I am for myself is better.
Yeah. That's a good way. Yeah. And I think that's a good way to handle your mental health so you don't have to, like, put yourself in certain situations.
Because I also just never want to do no shit I gotta apologize for. If I had to apologize for some shit, I'm gonna be so mad. I don't never want to apologize for nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So when I do something, I mean that shit.
Oh, I definitely meant what I said and said what I did. I ain't gonna take that back.
Yes, but I think because of the inner work, I've gotten to the point now where if I feel that, like, hotness coming up the back of my neck, to your point, I'm gonna exit stage left.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take a deep breath.
Yeah,
because I want that part of me to rest.
Yeah.
She can go to bed. Like, I don't need to be blunt. I don't need to be abrasive.
And that's circling back. That's my reasoning now to really see the world that I'm walking into.
Yeah.
In other words,
you don't want that to bring out your bad side.
There's too many moments, and there's too many people who want to fight all the time. And at first I used to be like, what is this? But I'm like, oh, this is everybody. And now that I'm, like, learning about myself and talking to other comics, I'm like, oh, this is the environment. You're going to need to figure out a way to keep her from coming out and turning up, because I'm noticing, as much as I'm going to do work on myself, someone going to do something. Yeah. And it's going to get to, and one of the things I told my mom this today, I said, I come from a household full of professional curse outers. They not ready for this. Yeah. They not ready for how I'm a place definitely every MF in a perfect state. Yes. the scent is going to hit so
gonna
good.
Be an MF. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, I definitely come from a house of that.
I've worked on my breathing of my F words.
My mom used to be like, your tongue is like a sword.
Listen.
Yeah.
My brother told me that. He said, what you gonna
let me
say?
Just calm down. Because I don't want to, if I have to go off on you, I don't want to have to apologize.
It's a wrap.
Yeah,
I'm about to
never
say,
go back to that place.
The hand is going to be coming and the words is going to be coming. You just going to be getting hit. It's going to be wild.
And you're going to be very like,
upset.
Who the fuck is this bitch?
Exactly.
I'm so sorry. And so because I never want to say I'm so sorry to nobody, I just don't be, when I get mad, you will often find that when I'm mad, I'm off somewhere on my own, doing my own thing, meditating, taking a deep breath. I remember I got so mad last year. Something happened, and I don't even want to go into it. But I was so angry. This is where I talk about going to the beach and screaming. Because you really got to get that shit out. And I couldn't really do that. And I remember I just laid on my floor, and I had to, like... Because it was one of them things where if I had encountered anybody who rubbed me the wrong way at that point,
it was a wrap.
It would have been bad. Yeah. And so because I understand that is where my energy is, it's very Incredible Hulk. Like, I really got to get...
The thing that bothers me is it takes me so much to get there.
It takes a lot.
And when somebody get me there, you be like, this is wild. What we going to do now?
This is what I'm saying.
I've already turned.
I'm already the Hulk.
I'm already the Hulk now. You talking about some chill out.
Where's the Hulk
I gotta
whisperer?
break things down. What are you talking about? Like, I'm a werewolf or something. I ain't have enough time to run out in the woods. Like, you set it off.
Yeah, crazy. So I definitely am a person who wants to maintain my zen and maintain my peace. And anytime if somebody get me to a point where I feel like I gotta take hundreds of deep breaths to come down from my rage, I can never be around you again. It's just not worth it.
And that's my point.
Yeah.
Circling back to the conversation I had this morning and how it made me feel.
Yeah.
Immediately I was just like, oh, no ma'am. You've been fine all summer with that situation, not discussing that situation, not even being worried about that. And then this particular person comes into the mix with that. Oh no. Yeah. You're going to give them...
The energy just ain't worth it to keep it around.
No, it was more of, I'm going to present this. This is what's happening. You let me know if this you on the picture? Is this you? Because they look like
you gonna tell me this not you on the picture when I know this you on the picture, then we not gonna be able to continue this connection.
So like you gotta give them the moment of, so we got a bunch of shit in the folder.
Yeah.
And some of these look like it's you.
I want you to know here, and here is where you had me fucked up.
Yeah.
And however,
I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. If you could send us you need to send us something in to let us know this ain't that. So we'll wait on your... And then, because it's just, I'm so in a space where it's so important to me for my energy just to be around the right stuff. And I just feel like now after that growth experience that I just, went through, I'm like, we're not ever doing that again.
Not going back.
And we're not allowing anybody in our world to allow that to happen again.
Yeah.
Like, you saw the disrespect with this person. You was feeling the disrespect with this person. Not only just the disrespect with them, but how they were disrespecting you behind your back and telling people certain stuff that was allowing them people to think they could disrespect you. And how no.
Yeah, never.
No, ma'am. You know who you are. You would have messed around and killed a lot of people.
Yeah. It's just never worth it.
It's never
worth it. So I think what we're kind of learning today, because I feel
we brought that.
I think what we're learning today is, as we are on our journey of growth and accepting who we are
and living day to day through life of hard times,
there are going to be a lot of things that come up that test where you are in your journey and how committed you are to the path that you're on,
or the path you are trying to get to.
Yeah, ultimately it's up to us to decide how we want to interact with those tests and whether or not we pass or fail. And I think a lot of times people feel like, well, this happened and I couldn't help it. No,
we always have a choice. Yeah,
we always have a choice. And for me, this kind of unaligned feeling that I have, it's been a lot of choices that have been the antithesis of what I should have been doing.
Yeah.
And so I've gained 15 pounds. I'm drinking a lot. It's probably because I'm drinking a lot. It's me not necessarily making the healthiest food choices. And I felt a little trapped by the decisions that I've made. But ultimately, I'm making decisions. And so if I want to get back to a place where I feel aligned, where I feel like I'm on the path that is taking me to where I want to go, I got to make the opposite decisions of what I've been doing.
Right.
And that's kind of where I am with my mental health journey. Getting balanced and figuring out how to be who I want to be, because who I want to be is nothing like who I've been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, I learned that I had a lot of self-esteem work to do. A lot of it was allowing things because of a fear of what they would think of me, or fear of losing this friend, or fear of losing this boyfriend. For the first time, I'm like, I don't need none of y'all. Because this whole summer I've been hanging out with me and it's been cool.
Been great.
We having
a good time.
Now I'm just in a space where I am no longer afraid to be honest about what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing, and I'm finna tell you in your eyes. It's not gonna be rude. It's not gonna be rude, but I'm finna look you in your eye and be like, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm seeing. And what I've learned since I've started doing that is a lot of people ain't ready for that.
They don't be. And the thing is, I think if you're not a person who feels comfortable confronting people in the moment, write it down.
I'm outside trying to confront people.
That's fine, but I don't think everybody has that energy, and that's okay. I think a lot of times
when you get pushed like I got pushed, you outside now I'm gonna ask you again.
But I
saw what I saw.
I think the thing is, though, some people don't have the energy. They just don't have the capacity to confront a situation head on. Write it down.
Yeah.
Go over it a million times. This is what I used to do before I got more comfortable confronting people in the moment. I would write everything down that I felt. I would edit it to the gods, and then I would send it in a text. Because I think a lot of times you have a moment where something happens and you're not necessarily comfortable enough to address it in the moment. And then the moment passes and you feel like you've waited too long.
That's
Baby,
me.
No. If you had a feeling about something and somebody did something that disrupted your peace and you care about that relationship and you care about that person, it is on you to communicate how you feel about that. So whether you do it in the moment or whether you do it after the moment and you're writing it down, it needs to be done for yourself and for that relationship. Because if you don't do it for yourself, what ends up happening is that you're telling your brain that it's okay for people to constantly cross your boundaries. Yeah. And what will happen is you will continue to invite people into your orbit who cross your boundaries until you learn how to set them and be firm in them. And so if you're not a person who is okay saying in the moment, I didn't like that you did this, this hurt my feelings, this pissed me off, go home, write it down, send a text. And what I like to do, and I've said this before, if it's something that I just really don't want to say, but I got to get it off my chest, and I have that where if I don't say something, I feel kind of like it just bothers me, like I feel sick. So it has to come out of my mouth or it's got to be texted. I will text it and then put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Because I don't need to have a conversation. Anyway, yeah, but I don't need to have a conversation with you right now about it. I need to get this off my chest.
Then you gaslighting them.
I'm not.
Not you send a long message and like, do not disturb.
It's not. Because I'll check it to see if they text it back. But I think the thing is, like, it comes to a point where if you send it and they don't respond.
Alicia said she gonna shoot up your house and then go to bed.
I did not say that.
That's what that sounded like to me in my hood mentality. She was like, I go ahead and just pop off a few shots and then hide in the bank. Like, what?
Absolutely not. No, what I'm saying is you waiting on that text back is disrupting your peace. Yeah. So if I turn on that Do Not Disturb.
No, I ain't wait. If I send the smoke.
But people will. People will. And so what I found is if I don't feel like I'm going to get an immediate response, and even if I do get an immediate response, because I'll still check, I'm going to put it on Do Not Disturb. So I'm not going about my afternoon waiting to see if they texted me back or not.
See, like
if I can go to my phone and look at it and they text me back, cool, we can have a conversation. But if it's on and I sent this text out and you just not replying, that's gonna piss me off even more.
No, I don't.
So I'm gonna Do Not Disturb it. And then I'll check it in 5 minutes to see, okay, you haven't texted me back. Let me go ahead and go about my day again. Well, I don't know. That's it, and that might be a little toxic. It's okay. I don't give a fuck. Okay. It is who I am.
Stand in your truth.
I'm going to stand in my truth. This is what I got to do for me to be okay, bitch.
Live your truth, bitch. I will say this before we close out. I think you guys also, for your mental health, don't second guess yourself. Yes. If you literally feel like someone is being weird, they're being weird. If you feel like your job is counting you out of stuff, they are.
But the thing is,
it's all not... None of this is, you're not making things up. Yeah. And like that is one thing that I will say that I have learned this year for sure. You heard what you heard. You saw what you saw. Okay?
They said what they said. Yes.
You know, so you don't have to feel like, oh, they were having a bad day or you misread that. It's happening. You saw what you saw. You either gonna say how you feel for the sake of your mental health, or you gonna have to just go ahead and exit stage left.
But I also think in the moments, for the people who are worth it, when you point out, hey, this thing that you did really like threw me off a little bit, the right people are gonna be like, I'm so sorry, that was not my intention. Let me tell you what was actually going on.
Nah, that's what I'm talking about.
These are the people that you keep in your circle.
That's who you let.
Because they're going to acknowledge your feelings. They're going to apologize for how they made you feel, because the intention of what they wanted to do does not matter. It matters what the impact was. So if you made me feel a certain way, even if that was not your intention, it don't matter.
If you still made me feel defensive.
Yeah, if they getting defensive though, perhaps they not your tribe.
Perhaps you caught them red-handed. And now they're like, well, what?
Perhaps.
Because a lot of people in real life, I don't want to get into another thing, but a lot of people they know what they be doing to you. They know what's going on. And they're not ready to be honest about what they're doing to you.
That's like
so when you call them out and say, hey.
After they stole my content.
You know, they're like, wait, no, that wasn't what that was.
Organic content.
You know, so yeah.
Okay.
Stay woke.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Next week, y'all. Bye.